Hello everyone, it is Jazz here, and today I am breaking the mold from some of the previous types of videos I've done and doing a TV recommendations video. I've been wanting to do a TV recommendations video for a very long time, but I had to figure out how to do it because I have watched so many shows that are great. So I thought the best way to do this was to separate my recommendations into genres. So the genre that I decided to pick for today was period dramas or costume dramas, or what some of us in book world might call historical fiction. I decided to just list my top 5 today of the period dramas. Today I'm just talking about my very super favorites. I don't really per se have a countdown for these because I love them all for different reasons, but I will say my number 1 is definitely my number 1 favorite. So I'm gonna quit my babble and go ahead and talk about my top 5 period dramas. I'm gonna start off with a little show called When Calls the Heart. When Calls the Heart is a Canadian/American based show. This show is set in 1910 and it centers around a young woman named Elizabeth, who comes from a rather wealthy upbringing, but she herself decides to become a teacher and move to the Canadian West and teach the children in sort of this very tiny town, much to her family's chagrin. So her father basically sends this Mountie named Jack to kind of secretly watch over her and make sure nothing happens to her. He is not happy about being stationed there just for some like rich chick. So both of these two characters show up in this little town called Coal Valley, and it's kind of a culture shock for both of them a little bit because they're showing up at a really kind of negative time in which there has been a coal mining accident, and so a lot of the families are going through struggles because the men have either been injured or have died in this situation. And the whole show basically follows town life and the struggles and the highlights of these small town people. So what I like about When Calls the Heart is that it is just really good, clean, sort of sweet tooth fun. It's appropriate for any age to watch it because you can watch it if you're a kid, you can watch an adult, and I think you could still find something really interesting if you're an adult in it. And also if you're a kid, you're not going to see anything inappropriate that you shouldn't be seeing. It's the kind of show that just really makes me feel good and gives me joy, but there's still like, oh, what is going to happen kind of quality to it, because there is some action and there is a lot of just cute stuff about the friendship in the town, as well as cute stuff with the romance that is going on. I often describe the show as it being kind of like Little House on the Prairie, except that it won't make you cry quite as much as Little House on the Prairie. So if you're just looking for good, happy, fun, family sort of entertainment, this is definitely the show for you. If you want to catch up on the show, because the show is going on its 4th season in 2017, you can watch for sure the first 2 seasons on Netflix because that's how I discovered it, and then I went and bought the 3rd season on Amazon because it had just started by the time I finished the 2 seasons, so you can find it on Amazon. I'm assuming you can find it on any of the sites where you can buy TV shows as well because of that. And once you've caught up, if you want to actually watch the show when it airs, if you live in the US, it airs on the Hallmark Channel, and if you live in Canada, I think it airs on the Super Channel. I would know because I don't live in Canada, but that's what Wikipedia says. Next on my list is a British show called The Paradise, and this show starts in the year 1875, I believe. It centers around the people who live and work in a department store called The Paradise, which in this story is sort of the first English department store. And most of the story is about a young woman named Denise who moves from a very small town in Scotland to the big city of London, and she gets a job as a shop girl at the Paradise and meets the mysterious Mr. Murray, who manages the paradise. The story is not just about those two characters. There are several characters that are involved with the running of the paradise, and a lot of drama can come from those characters as well, and you get to see those backstories, which I think is a very excellent way that they do the story. I feel like in summary, this doesn't seem like there'd be so much like drama and intrigue than there really is in the paradise, and there is always some sort of mysterious thing going on, or some sort of deep emotional tragedy, or some kind of crazy underlining secretiveness. But I also kind of like how this show shows how women have to do a lot of different things to sort of get their ideas across in this time period, because Denise often has these really great, brilliant ideas, but she has to do these really, you know, interesting ways to try to express herself, because, you know, women weren't kind of allowed to do that. There is definitely a class system involved in the show. That really creates an interesting dynamic that all the characters are working in, and it's very interesting to see how everything develops. So if you're looking for a show that is full of intrigue and excitement, but also just really beautiful costumes and really thought-provoking moments, I think The Paradise is an excellent show to check out. This show only lasted 2 seasons, but I do think that the show has a really good ending, so if you're worried about sort of being left hanging, even though the show did get canceled, to me, you don't really have to worry about that. And you can for sure find The Paradise on Netflix and on Amazon, though I'm not sure if this one is on Amazon Prime or not. Another BBC series that I fell in love with was The Musketeers. This is loosely based on the Three Musketeers novel and the crazy adventures that all the four Musketeers get involved in. So much action, so much great sword fighting and intrigue and all those things. The villains in the show are just pricelessly awesome and so like manipulative. You get a lot of political drama because obviously the Musketeers work for the King of France. I love seeing the camaraderie between the 4 main characters, and it's just a really brilliantly written show. So this show lasted 3 seasons, so the whole series is complete. I'm pretty sure if you want to stream this, you can only stream it exclusively on Hulu, but I'm sure you can buy it on any of the various avenues where you can buy the series if you're into purchasing it. The number 2 show that I love so much and have to recommend is Murdoch Mysteries, otherwise known as The Artful Detective. The story of this one, I think, starts in 1895 and goes into the early 1900s. Centers around a detective named William Murdoch, who has a very interesting approach to his investigation. Although he is very interested in questioning suspects, he is also very interested in science and things of that nature. So he will often invent different investigative tools so that he can really solve the case. He often is helped to solve these cases with the help of Dr. Julia Ogden, a really awesome coroner, and a young police officer named George, as well as the help of their police captain. So I like to say that Murdoch Mysteries is kind of like if something like Bones and CSI and a Sherlock Holmes novel got married, that would be the Murdoch Mysteries show, but it's kind of more than that, but it definitely has the feel of those type of shows. I also like that while it has an excellent investigative element to it, it also does have the elements that you always want in a good series, like romance and action. The show also has elements of humor and things like that in it, which I think is great because once you get to know the characters, you really get to love them and know all their little idiosyncrasies that they have. I love too that this series really is so diverse, as well as the fact that it really has some very strong female characters, not just Julia Ogden, but some of the other female characters that show up in the series. Just a really cool way to show the development of like feminism and things like that through a historical story, and that just is an extra super point. And it's just so easy to get invested in. I love this show so much, y'all. I can't even tell you. And the best thing about it is that there is so much of it because it has just started its 10th season. So it's just like, yes. So if you, like me, are into investigative sort of shows as well as period drama, this is the show for you. I think that anybody could have fun with this, even if you don't usually watch period drama. I think you would watch this and find this really entertaining. You can watch this on Hulu or Netflix, but they don't have all of the seasons for some reason on Netflix and Hulu. What my mom and I did is we got a subscription to Acorn TV on Amazon, which is a sort of subscription that you can get that gives you a whole lot of British and Canadian shows. I really think that's the best way to watch Murdoch Mysteries, is just to get your subscription to Acorn TV and watch that. And there's also a ton of other shows that I can recommend later that are on Acorn TV other than this show. So that is the way that I would approach catching up to Murdoch Mysteries. Once you catch up to all the seasons of the show, you can watch this in America on the Ovation channel. For some reason in the US, this show goes under the title The Artful Detective. Be aware though, if you're in the US like me and you watch The Artful Detective, it is on kind of at an odd time, I think like 6 o'clock. Be on the ball about taping it, is all I'm saying. I think I read in Canada that it is on CBC. Yet again, don't know my Canadian channels, but I think that's what Wikipedia said. Now we have reached my #1 absolute favorite period drama, and that is, of course, Downton Abbey. Love Downton Abbey so much. This series centers around the Crowley family, which is composed of a lord, a lady, and their 3 daughters, and the servants that work on their estate, and just sort of how the dynamics of that, as well as the changing of the time period from the 1912 era to the 1920s era sort of goes about, and how it changes the people and all those things. There's so much to the show, I don't even know if I can summarize it. What I love about Downton Abbey is just how brilliant the character development is and how they get to every single one of the characters in the show. There are a ton of characters in this, and you like never forget anybody. They always get a plot line for almost everyone. You fall in love with all the characters, even the ones that are kind of a pain in the booty. You still end up falling in love with. You're like, I love you, I just don't like you right now. I think it's so brilliant how it's written that way. I mean, some people though, they're just evil. But all of the main people that are shown in, you fall in love with, I should say. There is always something crazy or interesting going on, and there's a lot of drama and intrigue and a lot of emotional turmoil. And if you're into period drama with beautiful costumes, it's got that too. The main thing I love about Downton Abbey though is that it feels like reading a really good historical book, but you're watching it. When the show was on, it really put me in just like the best, most relaxed, great mood of just like escapism and wonderfulness. Right now, because the show is done, it is completely finished, I'm pretty sure you will either have to buy this on any of the sites where you can buy shows, or you will have to watch it on Amazon Prime, because it is on Prime. So if you have Prime, you can watch it on there. Please watch it. If you haven't watched it already, you need to. Even if you don't like period drama, you need to watch Downton Abbey, okay? Just do this for me. So those were my top 5 very superest, favoritist period drama TV shows that I highly recommend. I've watched many other period shows that I loved, and a lot of new ones are coming on, so I might make a separate video for those later on. If you liked hearing my recommendations, let me know what genre you would like to see me talk about next in terms of TV shows, because I have literally watched almost every genre, and I could probably recommend something, so let me know what you think you would like to hear about. And thank you all for watching. I will see you on Sunday. Bye!